Hope you guys like that one. That music's by my friend Talib out in Glendale, California. He wrote that song for me. Oh, 6 or 7 years ago. And I love using my personal musical friends because they're so talented. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Trump got some help from Congress today. Might have been last night, but today with the Supreme Court. I'll give you two major cases that are huge for his administration. If he wins, and it looks like he's going to win at least one of them, we're in good hands because it sets a precedent. This is all just Democrat garbage that they threw against Trump. And he is beating them at the Supreme Court like 96% of the time. So it looks really good for him. And it looks really bad for Democrats. And everyone who thinks the Democrats are winning, you're wrong. They tried like 96 cases against Trump, overturning him with lower judges, and they lost almost all of them. So he hasn't been seriously curtailed yet by the Democrats out of power. So what's left to do? All they try to do is manipulate you through media and the news and all social media, okay? So everyone passing all these news articles around, that's where 99% of the argument is made, is by shows like this, by you guys tweeting, sharing links, talking to your friends online. The public discourse is no longer out there on the streets in public at some cafe. I'm having my biscuits and gravy. My chicken fried steak. Ooh, with Tabasco on it, please. Though we're off carbs. Can't be doing carbs. For those of you who are saying, did you run 5 miles? I ended up running 6 miles without stopping. That was a new record for this year. I've done 5 marathons before, so I've beaten that. That was like 10 years ago. So we're going to find out if I have anything left in me now that I'm a 59-year-old washed up comic book artist and animator. I put the UV clear coat on the painting over there. Mr. Diesel is over there asleep like a Christmas cat. He looks wintry. I'm from California, so my blood is like, I don't like seasons, guys. Everyone's like, I like the seasons. I don't. Fall looks like things are dying, and winter looks like things are dead. I don't like it. I don't like walking outside and freezing to death. My 6'8", scrawny, 5% body fat body. Just the wind blows right through my pants. It's like I'm walking around in my underwear. This Tennessee wind gets me every time. Let's look at some of you in the chat. How are you all? How is everybody? Everybody got your thumbs up yet? Have you passed this link to some of your friends? You know, you might want to try this Doug guy out. He makes the news, instead of being boring and redundant every day across 1,000 different channels, he makes it a little quirky. It's a little entertaining. He picks out the big picture of things and show you what's really happening beyond the lies you're being told by Democrat-run social media, Democrat-run Hollywood, Democrat-run news, cable programs, medical institutions, universities, what your grandkids tell you when they come back home from college. Sloppy thinking. We do it right out here. So great to see you guys. I, of course, respond to all of your, most of your comments, not every one of them every day, obviously, but over time, if you keep commenting, eventually we're going to hit you. We're going to give you a heart. We're going to give you a thumbs up. We're going to give you a comment, like even if it's just a thanks. Sometimes we can answer as much as 500 comments, but just so you know, sometimes I'm dealing with like 20,000 comments. I obviously can't read 20,000 comments a day or spend my whole time reading. Anyways, enough of the Frabjava. Let's get to a piece of news real quick because I got a ton of tabs open. This is going to take at least an hour to get through, so get comfortable. Kick your feet up. Grab your favorite beverage. Mine's always black coffee, a double espresso with a little water in it, also known as an Americano. This coffee mug you guys might have recognized. Gee, Doug, why does that look like it came right out of the late 80s, early 90s? because this is a wedding gift that the beloved Miss Tenaple and I got. We got a set of these dishes when we got married in 1990. And this is one of the last surviving. It's got a chip in it. I love my chip. This cup has soul. It was a wedding gift. One of my good friends in college named Lisa Sink bought us this set, and I always think of her. She was a very happy, bright, wonderful artist. Just love her so, and I always think of her when I drink out of this coffee mug, one of the few remaining wedding presents that have lasted 35 years, going on 36. Okay. You know, for coffee drinkers, are not your coffee cups, you know, they're like, they become kind of a part of you. That's my favorite one. Da, da, da. Okay, here's Trey Gowdy on Congress trying to get Jack Smith to testify. He tried wiggling out of it, but they're going to nail him down on it. Oh, look, that's me still dancing. There's Trey Gowdy not dancing.
Joining us is House Judiciary Chair Jimmy Jordan. Welcome, Mr. Chairman. First, let our viewers know, yes, sir, you too, why people should care about what Jack Smith did, regardless of their politics.
Well, here's one example. Our good friend Kevin McCarthy, Jack Smith and his team, even though they've been subpoenaing all kinds of other members of Congress and all kinds of other Americans, they wait until after he's speaker and they go, oh, maybe we want his phone logs. Maybe we want to know who he called, who called him, when he made those calls, how long those calls lasted. And if Kevin initiated the calls, they could figure out where he was at when he did so, of the Speaker of the House. So, I mean, that to me is one line of questioning. I don't like to give too much away because I've watched you in these depositions. I know how you do it. You don't want to tell them what you're all the lines of question you're going to use. But that's one line that I think sort of is obvious. Why did you wait that long? Everyone else got subpoenaed long before that, but you wait until he becomes the speaker, the top Republican in the government, to go get his phone logs. I think that's interesting, particularly, Trey, and you know this.
Timing is everything, guys. That's why I like him talking about this late date of Jack Smith. You also got to remember that if he's going into these phone records in 2023, it shows he thought the Democrats were going to win and stay in control. He had the confidence behind him of the Democrat Party, had the wind at their back, and he did not fear anything. And they were only, that shows the trajectory, by the way, they were only expanding their power every year they were in office. They crossed, I'm going to go into some Second Amendment stuff at the end of this show. We're going to cover everything. First Amendment, Second Amendment, 13th, 14th Amendment, 2 Supreme Court cases, lots of arguments. All of it will be educational, guys. Remember, I'm the dumbest guy I know. I'm the happiest guy I know too. But I'm just a barely literate comic book artist. I came to politics and learned by reading the founders, reading Antonin Scalia, reading Supreme Court cases. I read both sides. I'm going to show you both sides. And this we'll hear from Ketanji Brown Jackson. I believe Sotomayor opens her dumb potato. We're going to hear from Gorsuch. We'll hear from John Roberts. We'll hear from all the good guys and bad guys. And after you hear them talk, it'll all start to make sense.
When you look at Jack Smith's background, he went and got the gag order on President Trump. He mishandled classified documents. He was accusing President Trump of mishandling. And then he actually, and this one is, I think, unbelievable. And I don't think this is too strong a word. I think they tried to bribe one of the counsels for a defendant when they said to him, we didn't know you were a Trump guy. We thought you were interested in this judge position. So there are lots of things that
they were threatening him, going, we didn't know you were here to help Trump. It would be too bad if you wanted that judge position because you won't get it. That they got, guys, there's all kinds of news. All right, it's fake. There's people in MAGA, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm sorry. People on the right, they think they can get you angry. They think you're dumb. They think you're violent. They think you're angry. They think that you just want a bunch of gossip and that you want to sit there and stew in your anger and hatred at America, which is disgusting to me. A patriot. We're patriots. We're happy patriots. We're grateful. We're grateful Christians before God. Things are not falling apart, guys. Absolutely not. And the future, by the way, the youth, the future was always in the hands of the youth. not a bunch of old curmudgeons going, well, it's all over now. The kids listen to rock and roll these days. Wrong. You have more patriots, conservatives going to church who care about the country in the 18 to 24-year-olds, believe it or not, than ever before. It's the boomers. I'm not saying this about all you boomers. I got good boomers in my audience. I got good people. But that generation is nothing compared to the youth today. So before you look at the youth, the 18 to 24-year-olds, and go, oh, they're all lost to socialism, look at your own generation. The boomers was the greatest turn away from the greatest generation, the post-World War II parents, who raised their kids in incredible prosperity and never taught them about the Nazis. Okay, so I got all the good boomers here. I get it. But man, the kids, the future's in good hands. They just need a little counseling, a little wisdom, a little guidance, and a little encouragement of you go. We're counting on you. Do it right. Now, they can't date for the life of them. They don't know how to go and talk to the opposite sex. I get it. They don't know what talking to the opposite sex is for anymore. And they need some help with that. Remember in It's a Wonderful Life, he goes, you going to talk her to death or you going to kiss her? Oh, youth is wasted on the wrong people.
Bother me about, not to mention, Jack Smith was also way back when encouraging Lois Lerner to go after conservatives. So I think there's lots of things we want to ask him about, but you're right. It's better to get him behind closed doors first. That doesn't preclude us bringing him into a public hearing later.
Okay. Now, this piece of the argument is what's the most relevant. Jack Smith, they subpoenaed him. There's an argument over do they get him behind closed doors or out in public? And Jim Jordan just made a very good point that is not immediately aware to other commentators that are just trying to get you angry. He said, look, we want a shot at him behind closed doors before he goes public with his testimony. Jack Smith, in his response to Congress, said, I would be glad to come testify if it's only in public and it's only for like 15 minutes. And if it's only if I get immunity, which I'm not that big on, I don't have as big of a problem with immunity. My goal is not to throw Jack Smith in prison, although he should obviously be in prison for life, that good for nothing criminal. I'm more concerned with the truth getting out. If the truth gets out, millions of us can learn from it. If he gets immunity, you know what I mean? You can't have recourse against him if he pleads the fifth the whole time or whatever he says. You're not going to get justice on him. Big deal. That's not the bigger thing. I want the truth. I care about the truth. In fact, that's all I care about, because you can have a bad Jack Smith apple in America's history. America's history would survive a Jack Smith if what he did came out in public. If it does not come out in public, whether if it's secret or whatever, we will not survive it. Right? And that's our problem, is what the Democrats did in the last 4 to 8 years. And people that are in the chat going, nothing will happen, nothing will happen. You got it wrong. You got it wrong. What needs to happen is the truth must come out first. And I mean, with all of the emails, all of the evidence in public, on camera, not some secret website where they go, I have Epstein, the subpoena of this guy, of this. No, that's all Scooby-Doo. That's all fake news. It's all rumor. Did we land on the moon or not? Was JFK assassinated? Are there UFOs? I'm not talking about that evidence, guys. That saves nothing. Saves nothing. What's wrong with America right now is you have our Constitution is threatened by the Democrats. If they pack that Supreme Court, they're going to change the Constitution forever. We have to absolutely defeat this Democrat Party, which is trying to turn America, change it forever, into a socialist, anti-meritocratic, pure politicizing of government empire. And they're going to ruin it.
Which we may in fact do. But we want that hour-long session where our good counsel can ask him questions. Then it goes to the Democrats, then back to us, and you can go all day long. And I've seen you in action in those kind of sessions where you can have a witness for an hour. That's a whole different issue, a whole different situation than when you just give 5 minutes in a public hearing.
Yeah. Jack Smith wants to just do 5 minutes in a public hearing, which is essentially making a statement of I'm innocent and boo-hoo to you if you gave him immunity. Do not give him immunity. And by the way, they've got like at least 3 different ways that they can get Jack Smith. So even if this one fails, they can always go back and get him again. Same thing with Jim Comey, the crook with the Obama administration. They've got 3 ways to get him, 3 ways to get Christopher Wray. So just because one way goes down doesn't mean they all go away. Do you guys agree? In the chat, tell me, do you want the truth? Would you rather have the truth get out? Because people will say, oh, Jim Jordan, all he does is talk. By the way, guys, I got news for you. Congress's oversight, about 99% of it is just talk. It's always been just talk. 99% of the Congress, going back to the founders, is deliberation, debate, calling each other names, making arguments. It's the public record. So arrests are rare, but I'll take the truth. It's what we're going to need. Trump, and still, guys, we have massive public lies by the Democrat still standing that have not been fully shaken out by this congressional body. They've got more work to do, much more. I want to see it 24/7.
Yeah, Chairman, you and I have been in so many of these together, the depositions, the hearings. I mean, I think the way you are doing it, I'm convinced the way you're doing it.
By the way, some of you complain that my microphone blows out when I'm talking, and the actual recording, I get it. It's a little quieter. So you jack the sound up on one and then I'm blowing out the other. Sorry, I can't do anything about it live. I'm just with apologies for some of that sound problems you might have.
Doing it is the right way. I mean, why would I give Jim Jordan 5 minutes when I can give him 5 hours? I mean, I would rather you have 5 hours. Sure, people in the television business like me would love that 5-minute questioning and that hearing. But if you want the truth, why not do it your way, which is do both? Get the—
Trey Gowdy's right. What people are asking for, what they want, is the public testimony of Jack Smith on camera so I get clicks. And Trey Gowdy's saying the same thing on Fox News. I would prefer those 5 minutes because then I get clicks, I make money. But you know what's better? Jim Jordan's way. 5 hours behind off camera, privately, both Democrats and Republicans, cross-examining the living daylights out of them. That's how you get the truth out of them, under oath. And then he might perjure himself if he gets caught in a lie. That's what I'm rooting for.
Substantive stuff first all day long and then share what you want publicly.
Yeah, and Trey, we've already brought in 3 of his deputies. In fact, one of them, Thomas Wyndham, we actually referred to the Justice Department. We believed, and we don't do this very often, but the facts have to be there if we're going to refer someone for indictment to the Justice Department.
That's right. Facts before indictment, guys. Everyone wants to go straight to arrests. The facts have to be there before we can indict. So let's give them 5 hours worth of facts behind closed doors, instead of 5 minutes of clickbait that'll help my channel, but will not produce enough facts to indict them and make it stick. That's how this stuff works. They don't tell you that. They just go, nothing will change. No one gets arrested. No one gets arrested. Okay, guys. If you have not given me a thumbs up yet, look, we have 2,000 live viewers simultaneous. Those are big numbers. Give me a thumbs up, and that'll help push the show out. And it makes me feel better. It helps repair my crippled self-image. Look, here's where I got, this is, the next one's going to be where I got the thumbnail from. Jack Smith wants to hide behind a 5-minute hearing circus. This is more of the theory. on that.
Former special counsel Jack Smith has been subpoenaed by the House Judiciary Committee for a closed-door deposition on December 17th, supposedly focusing on Smith's work targeting President Trump. You sit on that committee, and so I sort of a two-part question. Number one, what's the goal of the deposition? And two, what, if anything, do you or should we expect to come of it?
What's going to happen?
Yes, I'm on the House Judiciary Committee. I'll be involved with that deposition. It's next week on Wednesday, I believe. The goal of this is to get information, to conduct our investigation that Jack Smith has not been cooperative with since we took power, since President Trump took office. And in fact, during the Biden years, we were asking for information that the Biden administration was not forthcoming with. And so we requested Jack Smith sit in a deposition, provide information. He refused to do that. He said, we're going to offer to come in for a hearing where members only get 5 minutes and it's more circus-like.
Yeah, we're not taking that offer. They're not falling for it, guys. They have to still negotiate this. It's supposed to be a week from this Wednesday. Here's a great comment. Look at this. To the Pam Bondi haters, which most of the time I honestly am one too, he says. Cassie says, sorry. I found out today she is understaffed by 200 people. By the way, Cassie, if you watch this show, you'd have heard that over 2 months ago when I first started defending Pam Bondi. I told that truth about her being massively understaffed. This is why I said, do not touch the Epstein files, because you're going to have to devote a certain amount of staff to something that will help nothing. And notice again, guys, no matter how much was released to you, no matter how much everyone promised you, everyone released everything, everyone got subpoenaed, everything got this. Oh, we're going to release more. Not one new fact came out, because my suspicion is there's no facts to find. There's nothing there. They've promised this now for 8 years. It's a nothing burger until I see one new fact. There's not one new fact. Everything is are lies, conspiracies, fake news, social media. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Look at that. We're up to 2,200. You guys gave me a thumbs up and I got 200 more people coming in. See how YouTube responds to you looking and liking, and they go, holy cow, push this show out to more. Then it goes out to more people. So I appreciate that. Thank you guys. I have the best audience. You guys do great work. I found out today she's understaffed by over 200 people. I'm not excusing her mess ups, but that gave me perspective. Cassie, I've been giving my audience that perspective now for over 2 months. Grossly understaffed. By the way, it's not just Pam Bondi. It's also Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Janine Pirro has said the same thing. Harmeet Dillon has said the same thing. They can't find enough lawyers, legal experts, ICE agents, Border Patrol. They can't get enough people. That's why they're running. That's why the White House, they're running commercials right now saying, ICE needs you. Come, we will hire you for ICE. The FBI needs you. Come apply to the FBI. My son's a biologist, an environmental biologist in college in his senior year. I go, look, if you want to drop out and join the FBI or ICE, get in there. He's all, no, I'm going to get my piece of paper first and then we'll see what happens. But, you know, my kids are going to enjoy all that. But all of these branches, Dan Bongino, because they had, why did they do it? Because they started with like 400 to 500 staffers. They get into office. A bunch of them are Democrats. Remember, the government was hiring about 80% Democrats before the Trump administration comes in. So it's like 80% of these FBI agents and Pam Bondi's legal counsel, they're all Democrats. And they're all leaking information, dragging their feet, not being helpful. And you still have to pay them. Trump tries to fire them, and the Democrats run their lowercase judges to say that he can't fire these employees, even though they're under the executive branch. That's now you guys see the big picture strategy. Big picture strategy. Pam Bondi, and then meanwhile, legal theorists who know, like the great Mike Davis, said AG Pam Bondi is the best attorney general he's ever seen. The most effective. And for people who say there's no arrests, she has more arrests than any other administration. It's just not on these big tabloid superstars like Jack Smith that we're all told in social media, if it's not Jack Smith, it's nothing. No, they've stopped 60,000 child traffickers. That's something. It's not nothing. Thousands of traffickers, drug traffickers, thugs that have been released 50 times. They're going out and cleaning up all the easy stuff, but it's thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of arrests that they've already done. People are being arrested. It's just not the kind of stuff that the online political news likes to talk about. So, are you guys patient with what they need to do to get Jack Smith? They got to get Jack Smith. They gotta get his body parts in a vice, figuratively. Why? Because he's going to rat out so many other people if they get his emails, if they subpoena him, if he feels like if they sweat him out and he's got to start giving up names, they're going to unravel that entire Biden/Obama dark network that came after Trump. That's the big one. Is a grand conspiracy happen? We have all these kind of leaky buckets of information where we all kind of sense it. And I don't just mean feel it, but you see this trail go and you go, well, that doesn't make sense. Why did that happen? Then you start going, oh, it was a grand conspiracy. Hillary was in on it. Obama knew. Christopher Wray knew. And they all look at when they bring him in and, bring them in for questioning. They're like, what? I don't, I'm not going to comment on an ongoing investigation, boss, is what they do. Now, guys, lots more news to come. I got a ton. Here's some Supreme Court-y stuff. Are you ready? Put your big boy hats on, because this is Supreme Court-y stuff.
Fox News alert now. The Supreme Court appears ready to side with President Trump in granting him the ability to fire independent agency board members.
Okay. That's the big headline. Independent board members. He can, this is about that FTC. What is that? The Federal Trade Commission. He fired a chick. We'll get into it. I'll give you more detail. That's the way this show works. I give you a spread because I covered each of these cases. I think I have at least 3 support clips with each one. I don't have the full story in any one clip, but by the end, it will sculpt this giant picture. Brilliant brainiac. Almost 2,400 people watching at once now. Keep those thumbs up coming. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for helping make my job go a little easier. This is the argument before the Supreme Court. We're going to hear an actual judge, and this is the case being argued. This is Gorsuch, a quote from Neil Gorsuch, whom, by the way, I just quoted Mike Davis earlier, saying Pam Bondi was the best AG he ever had. Mike Davis clerked under Neil Gorsuch. Stick around. You'll keep learning. I'll keep giving you the factoids, guy. It will all sculpt out who knows what about what.
Just want to explore just for a brief minute.
Oh, this sounds really bad.
Your scintilla of conclusive and preclusive power theory. You agree, I assume, the president is vested with all the executive power.
Yes.
You agree that he has a duty to faithfully execute all the laws,
Yes.
civil and criminal.
We agree that the Constitution imposes on the president a duty to faithfully execute the laws.
All
Absolutely.
the laws.
Well,
Is there some laws he doesn't have to? That'd be news to our friends across the street.
the take care clause is a duty, and it is also a power, but the text of the clause does not provide that the president must have at-will presidential.
I didn't ask that. This is, does he have a duty to faithfully execute all the
I didn't ask that. The clause that says that he's allowed to do whatever he wants, we don't agree with it. And Gorsuch goes, I didn't ask that. I said, can he do it? Not must he do it. So that's how this stuff is argued. Gorsuch is beating the living daylights out of this guy. And if I go back to this guy, it'll give the case again. This is Amit Agarwal, Democrat, attorney for the fired FTC Commissioner Rebecca Slaughter. So this is Slaughter versus the United States. This is Slaughter, where they're trying to say Trump can't fire her. And yes, the executive branch obviously can. I believe this one's going to be much easier to argue than the citizenship birthright. The citizen birthright, I don't know what they're going to say exactly. I do believe they're going to side with Trump. We don't find out till next spring. This one is, does the executive authority allow Trump to fire an FTC commissioner? Well, the FTC commissioner falls under the executive branch. And if he can't fire the FTC commissioner, then that commissioner is beyond the public's ability to vote for him. So there's no oversight. No oversight. That is, this is an unelected branch of government, the FTC. And there's many patriots that are conservative enough to just go, we think we should obliterate the FTC and the Department of Education, all these departments. I'm gunning for I think the FBI should be shut down if it's going to keep running like it did under Christopher Wray. Look, 2,500 simultaneous watchers. Thank you guys. I don't deserve you as an audience. We're going to keep going. I got so much news. I'm so excited. I love the news and I love learning as we go. So now here comes everyone. Now, you know, the public's a little rough on John Roberts. We're going to hear from John Roberts. And this John Sauer guy, this is the Trump attorney, the U.S. Solicitor General, John Sauer. He sounds like a chainsaw. He sounds like almost like a Gilbert Gottfried. This guy's voice is rough, but I love hearing this. This is a back and forth with two good guys, John Roberts. He's soft. He's a squish, John Roberts. He's not the best there is, but he is one of the six. And we do need to rely on him every once in a while.
I mean, I appreciate your point about not deciding cases that aren't before us. And I meant the perimeter case as an example, but I'm not sure you answered the question. Is this a severance issue? Do we, so the agency is okay so long as, you know, half of it survives in one branch and half in the other? And if so, who gets to decide that?
For the vast majority of these agencies, I think you see a law point out there's maybe about 24 executive agencies that are multi-member structure and have removal authority. I think the logic of this court adopted it for severability in Free Enterprise Fund and SEAL law, and Collins indicates that in the vast majority of cases.
Holy smokes! He has a voice made for sign language. Holy smokes! This is Trump's executive lawyer. Okay, this is on executive authority amid Trump's firing of the FTC commissioner. This guy's doing a great job, John Sauer. He also was the one who defended Trump against Jack Smith initially, back before Trump was president. He was Trump's personal lawyer, and now he's the U.S. Solicitor General. So we're putting good guys in the right place, but there's much more from the Supreme Court. Look, okay, hold on. I'm going to do a quick, this isn't exactly a commercial, but it's kind of a commercial. I have a link down in the description right now where you guys can sign up for our big Wednesday investor seminar. It's called Doug's Insiders. It goes to my website. This is dougsinsiders.com is the website. Doug's Insiders. Look for that link. And then you register here. They'll take your email and your phone number. And then Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, at 3 o'clock Central, I believe it might be 2 o'clock Central. The episode goes up and you will learn directly from my friend Ross Givens how we copy all of Nancy Pelosi's stock trading that gets her like 300% return. Marjorie Taylor Greene also. Massive returns. Jasmine Crockett, millions of dollars in returns. And all you do is you look at what they invested in. CEOs invest in insider trading, and then I just make the same trade. I've done it with Ross Givens. It is working so far. I'll just keep you guys posted on how that works. But a lot of you guys were asking about this. You click this register now button right here on that website. You'll see the day counter coming up. You click that link, you sign up, you put in your name and your phone number, and then we're together, and that's it. That's all I got to say about that. You guys, and you don't have to do it. It's free. We're not going to sell you anything until the very end. Then we do the hard sell on you. But the actual information on how it's done is very interesting to me. I learned a lot about investing by doing it. Look, here's Mike Davis. Speaking of, we've brought up Mike Davis twice now for how great he is. The Supreme Court faces a critical birthright citizenship interest. So this is the second big Trump case that's going to be decided next spring. It should actually be finalized and released by, I believe it's June of next year, which will be just in time for the midterms. And we have to do this. We have to find out about illegals that are here if they're citizens, because there's a lot of legals, even legal aged, adult aged, voter aged illegals that are going to vote. And we might be able to set a precedent in saying your birthright citizenship, which I believe it does not stick. I don't believe it is right. I don't believe it's what the law intended to say, was to defend these illegals that are here by choice to take advantage of our work. They come over here to work and want to take our jobs and want to take our benefits, is very different than the birthright citizenship the way it was spelled out, which is back after the Civil War, when they were trying to protect blacks who were here, who had babies here, and that awful, awful, evil Supreme Court decision known as Dred Scott, where they said that blacks who were here and born here were not full citizens by the Constitution. They tried to say they were subhuman. They were trying to say they don't get a vote. So they simply passed this at the Supreme Court. They passed this in the Congress also to give them birthright citizen. They said, look, this isn't up to you, individual slaver states, Democrat states. It's not up to you to decide. They're citizens in full standing. And if they're born here, they too are citizens in full standing. That's what it was there to protect. Blacks that we bought from another country and then made them work here for free. Not Hispanics and South Americans and Iraqis that came over here, who knows how many, from Iran, came over here, not by force, but stole their way in and came in and took our jobs. And we paid them and took our benefits packages. So there's a big difference. I believe the Supreme Court is going to argue exactly what I just told you. And I believe that alone should win the argument. So here's Mike Davis on the subject. Sorry for the filibuster. Let's listen to Mike Davis.
Back in the war room, we're going to hit Mike Davis real quick, but then we're going to go back to Brianna. Mike Davis, there's some movement on all things SCOTUS and birthright citizenship. You had a great piece in Fox a few months back, and it seems like that might be coming to fruition, or at least the chance for it to be coming to fruition. Can you walk us through the latest?
Yeah, this is one of the most crucial decisions that the Supreme Court will decide this upcoming term, and it's the issue of birthright citizenship. On January 20th of this year, President Trump's first day in office, he signed an executive order ordering his government to not automatically grant birthright citizenship to people who are born in the United States. That is a misinterpretation of the 14th Amendment.
There you go.
After the Civil War, we had the Civil War amendments, the 13th Amendment to free the slaves, the 14th Amendment to provide equal protection and due process to the freed slaves, and the 15th Amendment to provide voting rights to the freed Black male slaves. That was extended to women with the 19th Amendment. But as part of the 14th Amendment, the ratifiers wanted to guarantee birthright citizenship to the children of the freed slaves. So there's the birthright citizenship provision in the 14th Amendment, which says that the children born to people subject to the jurisdiction of the United States have birthright citizenship. And
that's a true clause right there too. Subject to the United States. So if you're a subject of another country, you're not subject to the United States, so you don't get birthright citizenship. That's the biggest thing, and that's a second line of argument that they'll argue against the illegals that are here in this country. And guys, if you start getting the Supreme Court behind this and questioning their birthright citizen, it's only going to supercharge Trump's ability and authority to deport even more illegals, to force them to come through the proper channels, get back in line, pay a fine, pay your taxes, come out of the darkness. Because if you're walking around now without a legal ID, it's not going to be enough. And it has to be federal so we can go over California's head. Has to be federal so we can go over New York's state's head. Has to be federal so we can go over Minnesota's Somalis' heads and say, I don't care why you're here. I don't care what you're doing. If you don't have an ID, you don't get to vote. If that happens, the Democrats will never win another election again. And specifically, the only one I care about right now is this next one in 2026. By the way, there's 60 local elections, school board, all that. Right here in Tennessee, the beloved Miss Tenaple is looking at the Republican Party to help them out.
There is a clear legal meaning. If you looked at the text and the original public meaning of subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, that means people who are loyal to the United States.
There you go. Is a Mexican loyal to the United States if they have a La Raza flag in a parade and they're waving the Mexican flag, or a Palestinian waving the Palestinian flag in New York at our universities? I have questions. I think they should be questioned. How about you? We've got 2,600 people watching all at once. Keep those thumbs up coming, guys. It is spreading the channel out. This channel's going out big. And I thank you. Thank you so much. This is my full-time job. And by a job, I mean I have the most fun sitting here and performing on camera. I'm a natural performer. I'm a natural teacher. I'm also a fan of the country. I'm a fan of Jesus Christ. And I'm a fan of people, all of you people. Some of you are shut-ins, and this is all that you get, is this little window into my studio. And I'm here to put on a show for you. Work with sweat as much as I can to make you smile, give you a positive reason why America's holding together great, and we actually have a good future in front of us. I actually believe the next 30 years will be better than the last 30 years in America. I believe that. The next 30 years will be better than the last 30 years. And the big change in that is that Trump won. Remember, everyone that says that the Democrats are taking over and the socialists are taking over and the bad guys are taking over and the devil's taking over and the communists are taking over and the globalists and the World Economic Forum or whatever is taking over. They're wrong. They're wrong. They didn't take over. Last fall, we saw a miracle. 2024, Trump took a bullet. They arrested him. I mean, they made him 134 felonies. They gave they thought they would push him down and go, we're going to give him a mugshot, and that mugshot will ruin his career. And instead, it made his career. I believe that was one of the biggest things that caused his win. The enemy, Fani Willis, thought we were going to lose. They thought, we got him. And lo and behold, God goes, what you intended for evil, I intended for good. Look, the mugshot still there. Doesn't mean everything's perfect. But a big turn happened last fall. And everyone goes like, the country's over without paper ballots. Wrong. There were not paper ballots last fall, and Trump won. They go, it's not going to win unless we turn over the universities. Wrong. Universities were lying. Media was lying all day, all night to you, and Trump won. People can't explain that. I go, why did Trump win? If everything's so unfair. If criminals are out walking the streets and there's no arrests, why did Trump win? Because the American people are bigger than these communist, reptilian, demonic, little bureaucrats with their little clipboards and their little AI and their little lying programs and their little manipulation. It's like a little imp. People keep giving the devil, like the devil's this big, giant beast with giant horns and flames. And he's so powerful. God must be really scared of him. He's so powerful. They're nothing. They're imps. They're ticks. They can't stand up to the good. They can't stand up to the family. They can't stand up to love. They can't stand up to the light They can't stand up to truth. They're not even close. Even in the book of Job, the devil goes crawling before the Lord, begging him to be able to touch Job. They're not in control. That's why I don't pray to demons. I don't call them out. I don't say, I rebuke you. I don't talk to a demon. They're nothing to me. They're ticks. The Bible says to resist the devil and he will flee from you. You just resist. Hands up a little, resist. I'm not terrified of evil. Not terrified. Because it shows despair is not in our vocabulary. It shows a lack of confidence in God. That's the philosophy. I'm telling you. You guys show despair when some little tick comes up, some little imp, some little Democrat. I'm Desmond Crockett. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, y'all. Hey, Governor Abbott. Does not scare me. That's a tick. Nothing. You just, God's in control. God's got this. Want to hear from Ketanji Brown Jackson? Speaking of evil, let's hear this moron argue. This is Ketanji Brown Jackson. You know, you might think I'm being mean calling her a moron. I think it's being very generous. She's the one that said she didn't know what a woman was. When Marsha Blackburn asked her in her hearing, "What is a woman?" She said, "I don't know. I can't answer. I'm not a biologist." That's what a woman said. A woman who went to college, has a lot of letters next to her name from her degrees, said, "I can't tell you what a woman is. What am I, a biologist?" That's like me saying, like, I can't obey the laws of physics. What am I, a physicist? Am I a scientist? Ketanji Brown, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the person who Biden said, "I will pick a black female Supreme Court justice." And he should have finished that sentence with a black female Supreme Court justice, regardless of her qualifications.
Some issues, some matters, some areas should be handled in this way by nonpartisan experts. That Congress is saying that expertise matters with respect to aspects of the economy and transportation and the various independent agencies that we have.
This is her defense of the FTC, the lady that got canned. She's going, experts. We have to defend experts. Sorry, lady. Sorry, I don't know what a woman is. The expert FTC person does not get to keep their job if the president wants them gone. But she's trying to defend them with their expertise. Unless it was a Republican expert, that should be like, yeah, let the Democrats fire him.
So having a president come in and fire all the scientists and the doctors and the economists and the PhDs and
fire all of the economists that are all wrong right now on Trump. All the PhDs, the doctors and the scientists that all said, if you wear 2 masks, you won't get COVID. If you get the shot, you won't get COVID. And social distancing works. We found out everything that they said did not work. And they knew it didn't work. Those people, you can't fire them. You have to keep them. This is like union protection. This is why I hate unions. It's like you have to help that guy keep his job no matter how inefficient he is.
Placing them with loyalists and people who don't know anything is actually not in the best interest of the citizens of the United States. These issues should not be in presidential control. So can you speak to me about the danger of allowing in these various areas the president to actually control the Transportation Board and potentially the Federal Reserve and all these other independent agencies?
Independent agencies, who is in control of them if not the president for oversight? Who? No one can fire anyone at the Fed. Trump should someone has to be able to, so either make them elected, put them on a ballot so the people can fire them. That's the whole point of consent of the will of the governed. It's not supposed to be unelected officials and bureaucrats, which, by the way, are the largest portions of our government, are unelected bureaucrats. And you and I can't do anything about it. This lady's trying to defend them, saying these experts. Well, then, lady, who can fire them? if not the president.
In these particular areas, we would like to have independence. We don't want the president controlling. I guess what I don't understand from your overarching argument is why that determination of Congress, which makes perfect sense given its duty to protect the people of the United States, why that is subjugated to a concern about the president not being able to control everything. I mean, I appreciate there's a conflict between the two, but one would think under our constitutional design, given the history of the monarchy and the concerns that the framers had about a president controlling
It's a monarchy. Trump's a king.
everything, that in the clash between those two, Congress's view that we should be able to have independence with respect to certain issues should take precedence.
You're so wrong. You can't be independent. You can't be in control of anything if you can't vote them out of office. You can't vote them out of office. They're appointed for life. They can't be fired. And now they can't be oversight fired by the president of the United States, the guy that the people overwhelmingly voted for. That guy doesn't have the authority to remove a scientist, even if that scientist and PhD, an economist, an expert, transportation officials, a transportation official at the DMV can't be fired by the president. If it's a government, I'm saying if it's a government thing, you can't fire the government and the people don't vote for it. This lady, she also should be fired by the president. Okay, here's a super chat. Dr. Luke the Goat, $20 super chat. Blessings from Wisconsin. Christ is King. Our Lord, you know, God didn't abandon us here on earth. He didn't leave us in our sin. That's what Christmas celebrates. A little baby, happened to be God, was inserted into our lives to change Earth's history. That's what we celebrate with all the Christmas songs, guys. That's why I'm wearing my tacky, yo ho ho, yo, MTV Raps, my terrible Run DMC, ugly Christmas sweater. 2,700 in the chat. 2,700 guys, your thumbs up are working. You want to hear more? Who wants more? Because this is going to get good now. I got Mike Lee now. Mike Lee is a hammer of a patriot. He's going off on this, the Supreme Court in Trump versus Slaughter, Slaughther, which we've been covering.
I just finished watching arguments at the Supreme Court in a case involving the constitutionality of president's authority to fire executive branch bureaucrats.
Now, look, guys, you've been watching my show, and now you know exactly what he's talking about. That's how smart you are now. He's walking down the road talking about the court case. Can the president fire Slaughter, the head of the FTC, which he fired? And now you know what he's talking about before he even finishes his sentence. You just got smarter. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Because you know what? You get thrown in exile with me. You stand in this room with me and you get smarter. And so did I, because I didn't know this stuff till I watched it. So I'm learning right along with you.
Now, Article 2 of the Constitution vests the president with the executive power.
Boom.
And also the responsibility to execute the laws. When the president sees that the laws aren't being implemented consistent with what he deems appropriate, he should be able to fire them. And that's what the Constitution contemplates. There's a Supreme Court ruling from about 100 years ago called Humphrey's Executor. And Humphrey's Executor says that the president can't fire those employees, especially if they're part of certain multi-member lawmaking and law enforcement commissions.
So now you guys know the name of the defense of trying to hold them there is the Humphrey's Executor. The Humphrey's Executor. That's what they're trying to use against Trump and say, no, because the Humphrey's Executor says that he can't fire whole clumps and groups.
Sort of a hybrid. The Supreme Court appears dissatisfied with that. And it looks like there are 5, probably 6 justices who are ready to strike down Humphrey's Executor.
That's Roberts. 5 or 6 are ready to strike down Humphrey's Executor. And then Trump gets to fire the FTC head.
It would be a good day for America and for the Constitution if they did that. Look forward to seeing how the court decides this in a few months.
Do you believe Mike Lee? Are you guys happy to hear this? It's a expansion, not an expansion of the presidential powers. It just underlines what he already knew. Now comes Comer. This is on the Joe Biden. There's a little bit of auto pen goodness still alive. Now, when James Comer does the auto pen, it tells you what he wants to do. He's pushing this agenda because Trump is telling him, hey, stay on the auto pen, boy. Watch this.
President Trump says any and all executive orders, documents, or contracts signed by Biden's auto pen are hereby null and void. House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer joins me. Congressman, if these are all null and void, frankly, it sounds like chaos to me.
It is. The previous president put us in legal peril with respect to the unauthorized use of his auto pen. It's not just about using the auto pen to sign legal documents. It's about the unauthorized use. And that's what our oversight investigation found, that no one in the Biden orbit could ever specifically say a single time that Joe Biden was involved in the decision-making process on those pardons and on those executive orders, especially over the last 3 months of the Biden administration when the auto pen was used 96% of the time. So I think what President Trump did is exactly right. It's what our oversight investigation recommended: declare all the pardons null and void.
Where does it leave those, I think it's thousands of people who were pardoned with the auto pen? Where does it leave those pardons? Where does it leave those people?
Well, I think that they're going to lose their pardons, and I think the executive orders are going to be undone, and I think that they'll probably end up in court. I think people will challenge this, obviously, and I think the basis of our investigation, the report, will serve as the primary evidence in why President Trump made the correct decision to declare them null and void.
There you go. He believes they're going to get overturned. Did you hear that? Do you believe it? 2,800 people watching. You guys got to get me up to 3,000. Here's how you do it. I'm going to show you how to get me up to 3,000 simultaneous viewers on this show. If you have not commented yet, type in the comments where you're from. Just say checking in from Joe Bagadonis, Texas, and give us a thumbs up. And we will push. You watch. It will blow right up through 3,000. Okay, so the good news is Comer has confidence that the auto pen is going to work. If we can overturn it and all of his pardons, we'll get all those death row inmates. We'll go right back in prison. And we can go after guys like Fauci, members of the January 6th committee. Let me get out of the way so you can see this text on screen. Members of the January 6th committee, that's Liz Cheney, Kinzinger, Adam Shifty Schiff. They don't have blanket immunity. Merrick Garland, anyone who was, Joe Biden's entire crooked family that have yet to pay one dime or face any justice. Okay, you guys, now on this, I got a lot of Second Amendment guys out there. We got the boomsticks. We got the boomsticks. I like protecting my boomsticks. I like that a country that lets anyone drive a car down the road, which is a 2,000-pound bullet, ought to allow you to have a firearm, right? If a government that won't give you a gun also has the argument to not give you a car because that's a 2,000-pound bullet, they can't trust you. It means your government doesn't trust you. And that means the government is saying, we get bullets, you don't, because you will lose your accountability. We will not be held accountable to you, the people, unless you're a well-armed citizenry. So here's Harmeet Dillon, my favorite.
Hi, I'm Harmeet Dillon, the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, with an important update about our work here in the department. This month, the Civil Rights Division has started a Second Amendment section, and I'm really excited about this. For the first time, the DOJ Civil Rights Division and the DOJ at large will be protecting and advancing our citizens' right to bear arms as part of our civil rights work.
See, they're now expanding your civil rights to bear arms. Look at her boots. Did she get those from Tesla? Are those Tesla boots, Harmeet? She works under Attorney General Pam Bondi. By the way, this woman is also the key to election integrity. That is, she's the one that's for cleaning up voter rolls and demanding Democrat states turn over their voter rolls to her. And the ones that do not turn them over to her, they're going to start suing and charging. So, and if you don't get a hold of the voter rolls, you'll never find out how many fake votes are coming from Democrats from illegals. So you have to start with those rolls. All of the red states are turning them into her. All of the blue states. Gee, I wonder why. You guys can tell me in the chat below. Why do you think the blue states will not hand over their voter rolls to Harmeet Dillon? Why only blue states? Why only Democrat states will not hand over their voter rolls, proof of voter ID, addresses, names and addresses? Why won't they turn them over to Harmeet Dillon? Let's go, hey, trust us. Trust us. We got it. It's like Ketanji Brown Jackson. Our experts, you can just trust us. We're experts. You guys are peasants. You don't get a say. Federal, I like that word. Federal reciprocity. There you go, my people. We've got the multi-syllable vocabulary coming out right now. Dems are terror. That's true. They literally fund terror. We found out in Somalia, the donors that were getting government money in Minnesota. It's not been that loop has not been completely closed yet. So I'm getting ahead of myself, but we all know where the evidence is pointing. We all know that under Tim Walz, with help from Ilhan Omar and all these some of them elected representatives, they were laundering money out of Minnesota, saying we have started this new autism charity, and if you come out and tell us about your autistic kid, you can get a $1,500 bump. And they took a piece of that bump and gave it to, and they're getting the paper trail right now, guys, of where all the donations go to, and they're going to find out that they go to Somali terrorist groups to help them work in Somalia in a civil war. And we're funding the wrong side. We're funding the terrorist side. I don't know if I'd have a big problem with it if we were funding the good side. Well, no, I don't believe that. But now you guys know exactly what they're going to find. But wait, there's more. And remember, that comment from one of you, because you guys are brilliant, had said earlier how undermanned everyone is. And one of the most undermanned is Jeanine Pirro, who said she would hire 10,000 lawyers right now if she could find them. She said, please apply for a job, because she's cleaning up Washington, D.C. Breaking. The D.C. police chief resigns. Why is that, guys? Why did the D.C. police chief resign amid homicide data manipulation investigation? So what happened was they said, why is the homicide data so low in D.C.? Why is it so low? And now we find out they were manipulating the data. If you were killed, they would go like, oh, it was an accident. It wasn't race driven. It wasn't by a black youth with a firearm with a Saturday night special. They just started downgrading all the homicide data. Well, Comer and Jeanine Pirro went and looked. And lo and behold, the DC police chief resigns. Goes, I'm out. This is, who is this? This is the Post Millennials. This is Jack Posobiec's great site. Here's DC Mayor Muriel Bowser announced on Monday that Police Chief Pamela A. Smith will be stepping down. Chief Smith dramatically drove down violent crime. That is a massive lie. Drove down the homicide rate in the quote, a massive lie, to its lowest levels in 8 years. And we know that was another lie that Karine Jean-Pierre told. It was so high 8 years ago under these Democrat leaders that it would be, you roll out of bed and the crime rate goes down. And helped us restore a sense of safety and accountability in our neighborhood. She said, what a lie. Bowser did not give a specific reason for Smith's departure. Smith spoke to Fox 5, however, and said that she resigned to spend more time with her family. That's what every politician that gets nailed says. I want to spend more. Suddenly, I have this call to take care of my family. I abandoned my family for the last 8 years, but now I really want to spend more time with my family. After 28 years of law enforcement, so after 28 years of law enforcement where she did not care about her family, now she suddenly cares. What happened? What's the difference? Oh, they investigated her manipulated homicide rates. I've been going nonstop, Metro police officer said, that the crime stats have been manipulated to make the police look better. That is correct. That's how Democrats look better. They lie. 2,800 people watching at the same time, guys. Keep those thumbs up coming. Thumbs up helps push the show out. And we got much more news, more truth to come, starting with my favorite guy. I've been doing a lot on Tim Burchett. We were an early adopter of Tim Burchett right here in Tennessee, in my home state.
Hey, everybody, Tim Burchett. People are asking. Well, I'm currently at Ball Market, Cultural Center of the Universe, and 4-star
Cultural Center of the Universe, 4-star
deli.
4-star deli.
One. Anyway, you go in there, tell Alan and Richie you're friends of mine, and you'll get no discount. Everybody's asking about the Christmas party and asking if it's legit. You can Google it. It's 15 minutes long this year. Last year it went to 16, but we thought it dragged on too much. But 15 minutes. And the reason it's 15 minutes is because you go to a dadgum Christmas party, and what happens? You get cornered by somebody who's half lit and they got wine breath, and they're cornering you in the corner over there and for 15 minutes, and that's about all you can take. So I'm thinking 15 minutes is all you need for a dadgum Christmas party. You can say your piece and go on about it. And our musical guest this year is my good friend from Nashville, singer-songwriter Gary Chapman. And I'm hoping he's going to sing Tennessee Christmas.
Yeah, Gary Chapman, a Tennessee Christmas. Wouldn't that be nice? 15 minutes. Because he said they can't stand each other being in the same room with a bunch of drunk politicians. I'm with him on that. Here's Dr. Luke the Goat, $10 super chat. Midwest states are only blue because of major cities. True. They are 98% Republican counties everywhere you go. Yep, that's why we're happy to have a Senate, to have some representation of them. And here's some good representation. Here's our man, J.D. Vance, the next president, number 48, coming up in 2028. J.D. Vance on why China takes care of itself, and he's asking why we don't take care of ourselves.
We have built a foreign policy of hectoring and moralizing and lecturing countries that don't want anything to do with it. The Chinese have a foreign policy of building roads and bridges and feeding poor people. And I think that we should pursue a foreign policy, a diplomacy of respect, and a foreign policy that is not rooted in moralizing. It's rooted in the national interest of this country. Because Ambassador Sullivan is at the lead of moralizing instead of pursuing America's national interest, I object.
I object. He's objecting to a ambassador because they were moralizing on China. Now here's a piece of candy for you. I got something great. This is First Lady Melania Trump delivering remarks at, the Marines do Toys for Tots each year. And I love the Marines. My son is a poolie in the Marines. He's trying to get in. He's doing his pull-ups and push-ups and running. The Bluffness to Maple. Took him to the gym to run today. And I wanted to go running with them, but I have to work. So I'm doing this job, and I'm happy to do this job. I might have to go running later tonight. I'm not going out in the Tennessee cold, guys. I will die. You'll find me face down out there in the cow fields, running among the cows. I might go to the Y and jump on a treadmill either tonight or tomorrow. I'd prefer to do it tonight if I feel better. But Melania Trump at the Toys for Tots drive, a little piece of Christmas candy for y'all.
Good morning. Thank you, General Anderson. It's wonderful to join everyone here at Marine Corps Base Quantico. You might be wondering why Santa asked me to bring him here today. Well, this wonderful adventure is filled with Christmas sparkle and lots of love. Santa's reindeer, Rudolph, Dasher, Comet, all of them, they're resting in the North Pole. They need to save all of their energy for their great flight around the world.
Now she's telling a bunch of kids this. Is that technically lying? Are we still allowed to tell the Santa story to our kids? I mean, I told it to my kids all the time. They didn't believe me at all. I'd go, guys, Santa, he's going to fly in through the chimney. They're like, you're not telling us the truth, Dad. I'm talking about 4-year-olds looking at me cross. I'm going, I don't even get to enjoy a little Santa play. You put the cookies on the table and they're all eaten the next day. So even though the kids didn't believe us about the cookie thing, the beloved Miss April and I would just make a bunch of chocolate chip cookies and just eat them on Christmas night. One more quick quote from Melania Trump.
On Christmas Eve. Santa told me they are snuggled beneath warm, fluffy blankets.
Warm, fluffy blankets.
Sipping candy cane cocoa, feeling the joy and love that will soon be shared with amazing children everywhere. So, with his sleigh parked safely with his reindeer, Santa climbed aboard my Osprey and couldn't stop smiling.
Santa aborted my Osprey. That's an Osprey plane behind him. You know, the helicopters that can vertically turn. She's telling little kids, Santa got on the Osprey, the Marines' great killing machine that drops men out of the sky into the ocean. I love this. I love our country. I love Trump, and I love Melania, the First Lady. I think she's I don't just mean physically gorgeous, but her little exotic voice and her obvious love of children is so powerful. And to see her team up with the Marines, and the Marines love Melania Trump, a supermodel. The Marines go nuts and the kids are in front of her.
I watched him gazing out of the window, grinning at all of the wonderful American families below. Santa told me that the Osprey floated through the sky like a giant snowflake, but it is way faster than a sleigh could ever fly. Santa, where are you, Santa? Thank you for joining me. Today, we are here for one of the most beloved traditions of the holiday season, Toys for Tots, led by United States Marine Corps Reserve. For more than 75 years, Marines and volunteers across America collect and deliver new toys to children who need a little extra joy during Christmas.
We have given to Toys for Tots many years. I hope you do too. You bring in an unwrapped toy, and there's donation centers at stores, at Marine Corps, and you can bring new toys, and they will deliver toys to kids that need a toy. I think it shows a lot about our Marines. You know, they don't just break stuff, guys. They have done this for 75 years. It's entirely possible that God has sustained the Marines in military victory because they give away toys to kids. How about that one? What if it's all reverse engineered? What if we've got it all backwards? Could be. I love Christmas, and I love Not so much for adults. I like it for kids. Adults, we make it a holy holiday like church, and I agree with worshiping. But kids, I love the presents and the stockings. And the idea that a kid would go without, we also support that Samaritan's Purse, Operation Christmas Child, where we make those boxes every year, fill them up with toys. We've been doing it, Bloodman Sample and I, for at least 20 years now, and our church gathers them up, and you send them out to little poor kids. They might even be in Somalia. Some of them I've seen, they're in Somalia. We love giving to Somalian innocent children. I don't like giving to criminals out in Minnesota with my tax dollars. That's nuts. So on that happy note, guys, Christmas is in the air. And I hope you've seen me make my case in this episode that things are good. And it would be terrible not to thank God for it, and not to be thankful to each other, and not to be happy to each other in the chat. There's so much positive. And you know what? If you're watching shows and they're just telling you, be terrified, be afraid, be angry, who does that sound like? Does that sound like God or the devil? Be terrified, ungrateful, angry, and afraid. How is that MAGA? How is that patriotic? Never, ever, guys. We have a song on our heart. I see you guys in the chat. My people are loving, happy. I don't mean just fake joy, haha, fake. I mean real happiness, which is thriving. By the way, you can even be suffering and in pain, and you can still be happy. Joy takes no account. Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It is a philosophy of mind that it's your way of showing that you have faith in God. Lord, even as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And there's people telling you to fear evil. I'm telling you, don't fear evil, guys. Fear the Lord. Fear the good Lord. Do not fear evil. It'll all work out. Good wins. Santa flies in the Osprey with Melania Trump around the United States delivering presents. And I'm Doug in exile. I hope you'll subscribe, sign up for that event, link in the description. But God bless you all. I'm praying for all of you. May God bless you richly this season.